Hello and welcome to sunny Southern California. It's time for Xfinity Series qualifying live on FS1. We're at Auto Club Speedway in Fontana. And here's the weather. Sunshine. Haven't seen a lot of it in the last couple of days, but it's here right now. Track temp is 70. It is cool, though, 51 degrees. And as you can see, with the great flags in the infield, there is a slight breeze. With Michael Waltrip and America's crew chief Larry McReynolds, I'm Adam Alexander. So here we go to qualify. And yesterday in practice, down into turn one, close to 200 miles per hour. What's the key to a good lap in qualifying today, Michael?
Well, you got to wake up first, because this is going to get your attention. When you go charging down into turn three, coming to get the green, Larry McReynolds, to me, Adam, that could be the key to a fast lap around this racetrack. You've got to build some confidence. You're going to bounce down the back straightaway. We've talked about the humps and bumps there. But when you get into the corner, Larry, you got to hold it wide open and come to the green in a hurry. Turns 3 and 4 before you even take the green might be the key.
Yeah, and I don't think we really have a feel who the favorite is to win this pole, because tires are so fickle in practice yesterday. Is it going to be Christopher Bell making his first start, Daniel Hemrick making his second start here, or Joey Logano that's won here twice? That seemed to be some of the fastest yesterday, but because tires were all over the place, I don't think we really know who the fastest cat in the alley is.
Single car qualifying. Stephen Light is the first out. Later in the session, it will be the 00 of Cole Custer. Let's hear from the California kid. Good morning, Matt Yoakum.
Good morning there, Adam Alexander, and the rest of the boys upstairs. And when you look at Auto Club Speedway, this is a home game for Cole Custer. And I remember his owner, Tony Stewart, always telling me the Brickyard, he put the most pressure on himself. So is there a balance between motivation and too much pressure to perform at your home place?
Yeah, I mean, for sure. There's a lot of family and friends here, you know, you want to do proud, and it's also a homecoming race for Haas Automation, so you want to make everybody proud when you come back home. But you just got to do as best you can and do what you know you're good at, and try and execute to your best of your potential, and, you know, you just see where you end up.
He showed a lot of speed this weekend, hoping for a big W at day's end.
Last time a Ford won here, Matt, all the way back in 2007. Matt Kenseth driving for Jack Roush. Stephen Light, first car out, as we said. We go slowest to fastest in this opening round based on how these teams practiced yesterday. Top 12 advanced to round 2. They will go slowest to fastest based on what they do here in our opening round. And those top dozen will determine who starts on the pole later this afternoon.
Yeah, Stephen Light, he has 5 previous starts here. Actually got a top 10 finish at one point. Yesterday, not a ton of speed out of this 55 car. In fact, he was the slowest in the 2 practices of the 40 drivers that are here.
And there's that back straightaway we talked about, where the cars will buff it down through there, and then you have to set up for this sharp turn into turn 3. And that's what's interesting about this racetrack. You sweep down into turn 1, but you really have to hook a left at the end of the back. Looks like Light's got a little bit more speed today.
Yesterday, 44.70, as Larry talked about in practice. 43.32 here. Nice pickup for Stephen Light in the 55. Qualifying underway for Xfinity cars at Auto Club. Cars have been on track for qualifying. Second of those, Mike Harmon, who is currently third. Time for him, 43.972. Here's the 45 of Josh Bilicki. Road racing background out of Wisconsin. He is second behind Stephen Light for Bilicki, a 43.86. There's the 8 of Tommy Joe Martins. Matt, what's happening?
Well, catching up with Ryan Preece making his first Xfinity start of the year. A first, second, fourth, and his 5th. His last 4 starts. Excited to get back behind the wheel.
Excited is an understatement. But, you know, we were pretty good in the long run yesterday. I was really happy with how the car drove. And hopefully we're Xfinity fast in qualifying here.
You're a short tracker, modified champion. Kevin Harvick on Happy Hours brought up about how more focus should be put on the short tracks in your arena right now. You still live up north. What was the impact like?
It's huge. I got a lot of friends that race short tracks, so when we saw that and we heard that, I just wanted to let him know how much I appreciated it, because I'm still a short track guy. I go race Stafford on a Friday night, or Thompson on a Saturday, or on a Sunday, or a Thursday, and Riverhead, and all these short tracks, and I still run regionally with the Wheel and Modified Tour and open shows, so I race as much as I can. So whenever somebody like Kevin Harvick or guys in that Cup Series can bring light on the short tracks, it's a big deal for all of us.
Thanks, Ryan.
Priest not the only short tracker in the family. His wife Heather drove a modified. Maybe a little bit of a rivalry when their relationship began. Heather a little older than Ryan. She said to herself, who is this young punk coming along? But they were able to mend their issues, and now they're married. She's a great supporter of his career.
You know, Michael, watching David start in his 52 car on those seams, that car was a little nervous on those seams.
Well, and that's what these racers, Larry, are going to have to try to decide what to do. You get to the corners, they're wide, they're sweeping, but where do you go? There's seams, there's bumps, there's challenges everywhere.
Tommy Joe Martin's quickest with 5 cars gone in qualifying. Racing on the Fox family of networks. Sports cars at Sebring, later on Monster Energy Supercross here on FS1. NASCAR in Southern California. Right now it's Xfinity Series qualifying. You saw Morgan Shepherd, third of the 7 cars that have been on track. Top of the board, you just saw him in the 15. That's Matt Mills. He went 41-81 on his Chevrolet for JD Motorsports. And across the line in the 66 is Timmy Hill. He is 4th overall. We continue live from Auto Club after a break on FS1. 1/4 of the way through the opening round of qualifying for Xfinity cars here at Auto Club Speedway. Spencer Boyd from St. Louis, Missouri is currently second behind that guy, B.J. McLeod, who just went to the top of the board, 41-18. Boyd's from St. Louis. That's where Monster Energy Supercross is tonight. We've got that on FS1. Also have NHRA this weekend. Left them out earlier.
Kenny Wallace is from St. Louis, too. We're going to have him on TV tomorrow.
The 90 of Josh Williams just qualified second. 40 Xfinity cars in Southern California this weekend, so they will all make the field. This opening round establishes the grid from 13th on back. While we were away, the 40 made his run in qualifying. That's Chad Fincham, currently 3rd. Vinnie Miller also on track in the 01. He is 8th of the 13 drivers that have put their qualifying lap in the books. Now the 0 of Garrett Smithley.
Yeah, Garrett making his 3rd start here at Auto Club Speedway. Of course, got that finish last month. Top 5 at Daytona in the opening race.
Sponsor on side, vehiclekeys.com, on board with this team. Going to run some more races with them, helping them build that program stronger and stronger. Saw the owner of the company down in the garage area this morning. They're really excited to be here at the Auto Club Race Speedway and enjoying a great Xfinity day at the races.
Their efforts paying dividends. Smithley just went P1.
How about that?
Here's the 38 of J.J. Yaley, 41-year-old out of Phoenix, Arizona. Did some positive things at his home track last weekend, ISM Raceway, and tracking here inside the top 5 in that 38 for RSS Racing.
Yeah, that was a solid run, wasn't it? They were up in the top 10 for a bit, and really impressed with the job JJ did behind the wheel. It's always fun to come home. We know that. There's some California kids in this race today that are looking to turn some heads.
Yeah, JJ's fast lap yesterday was a 41.95. That was in that final practice late yesterday afternoon. Let's see what he can do here. Tracking up near the top.
To the top, 41.100 seconds. More after a break. You're watching on FS1. Through the opening round of qualifying for these Xfinity cars at Auto Club Speedway. Jeff Green, 2000 champion, went out, qualified 9th while we were away. 16 cars have made a run. This the 51 of Jeremy Clements in that Chevy Camaro.
Had a tough time getting this car to crank down at the end of pit road. The crew had to push it 2 or 3 times.
They got an additional workout beyond what they did at the gym before coming to the racetrack this morning.
Well, it's a repairable vehicle, and that team was able to push it. It repaired it.
That's hands-on.
That's just the sponsor coming to work for you.
Tracking in the green,
oh, yeah,
easily to the top. 40.92 for Jeremy Clements, Matt.
And Ryan Truex, top 14 in both practice sessions. Sun's back out. So what aspect of qualifying do you focus on as you're rolling off the grid?
Going faster than everybody else out here is the main strategy.
Well, you've got the smart aleck portion of the comments there.
I make myself laugh. I don't know if I make anyone else laugh, but I make myself smile at least. Our Bar Harbor C-Watt Chevy was a little off yesterday, taking off in first practice, but we made a lot of changes, and I think we're pretty good. we never really fired off that single lap speed, but we didn't really have a good chance yesterday. So I'm hoping we can put it in the top 8. I'd be happy with that. Have a good starting spot, and I think we'll be good in the long run, and that's what matters. So we'll see.
Shooting for the top 4 rows, and guys, that sun's out. So, Michael, how is that going to change the track, especially those seams, and how you got to navigate those?
Well, Matt, I just think that it's just going to make it a little bit more difficult, but the track has been so cool. I think there's still a ton of grip in it, so I don't think it'll be that challenging for these drivers. The wind was pushing them around yesterday. The seams, they understand the effect they have when the cars run across them, and you know, anytime you have that rubbery substance on a racetrack that the seams are, then it just, as it heats up, it just gets more spongy and it makes the car move around. But I don't think it's going to have an adverse effect during this session.
You know, back to what Ryan Trix was telling Matt about how they were way off when practice started. I talked to his crew chief, Chris Rice, this morning, and I think this was the case with a lot of drivers when they first hit the racetrack yesterday in the Xfinity Series. Remember, we're only here once a year. They really missed it on their splitter height. The splitters were really, front splitter was really hitting the racetrack hard, and I think that was the case for a number of drivers.
Wow, big pickup for Ross Chastain, over a second faster than he ran yesterday. That's awesome. Matt asked about the track, you know, the sun coming out, the cool temperatures all night long. This track's really set up for some speed right now. That was a great lap by Chastain. He's the fastest so far. Here comes our buddy Alex LeBay.
Joey Gase was on track in the 35. He is third. Clements sandwiched in between Gase and Chastain as we look at the rookie out of Canada, driving for Mario Gosselin.
Yeah, another one of the many drivers making their first Xfinity Series start on our race day show coming up a little later on this afternoon. I think 4:30 Eastern time. It's going to be one of our big topics. Drivers making their first start here at Auto Club Speedway.
Yeah, they passed a pretty big test yesterday, though, didn't they, when practice started? Some of those guys that never seen this place before jumped right up to the top of the speed chart. So I think they're up for the challenge. A lot of changes. Mario Gosselin down in the garage area was working this 36 car over. Said they didn't like the way it felt yesterday. But LeBay said, when I go down in turn 1, I'm going to hold it wide open and hope Mario, my crew chief and owner, made the right decisions.
Halfway through this first round of qualifying, you saw Matt Tifft out to make his run. This is what happened yesterday off of turn 4, final practice.
It just got loose on the exit, and Matt felt it get loose, turned it to the right, and the thing just hooked with them. Hooked right into the outside wall. The team had to go to work on the car. That was just a mistake that the driver made. They're going to step out a little bit, and you just have to kind of ride it out a bit. Look, see, he's hung out there.
Yeah, you can see real loose. And that's the thing I've noticed up here in this booth, coming here to Auto Club Speedway as a broadcaster now going on 18 years, is the racetrack's wide. But it's like you carry so much speed on the exit of the corner. If the balance is off on the car, you just run out of racetrack like we saw there with Matt Tiff in practice yesterday.
And that, you know, the maple syrup car just didn't stick.
Didn't stick at all.
Highly unusual. You usually see good stickiness out of maple syrup.
How did I know you were going to go there?
You read my mind. You complete me, Adam.
I've been working with you too long, I think. 40-63 for Matt Tifft. That's good enough for second. Matt coming off a top 10 run last weekend at ISM Raceway. Now we look at the third car from the RSS Racing Stables, the flagship machine. That would be the 39 of Ryan Sieg.
You know, that was a good lap for Matt Tiff, or a good pickup, I might add, but I don't think they're going to be very happy with that lap.
Well, Ross Chastain has to be ecstatic with that run that he made in the 4 car. And here's Ryan Sieg. Sieg's got a new sponsor on board, Lombard Brothers Gaming. If you want to play racing games, these kids will race against you.
And they've done a great job of going out and putting together a handful of sponsor packages for races in the not too distant future that will take them up through a good portion of the 2018 season. That's a positive sign for them. Good qualifying run. Sieg second behind Ross Chastain.
Yeah, I was talking to Cowboy Starlin, and he was telling me that they can't wait to get home, Adam. They need to work on their race cars. They said, we were faster last year than we are this year. We think we know some areas where we can improve, work on our cars, make them better, but quite frankly, our budget doesn't allow us to run back and forth from the West Coast to the East. We've been sort of playing the cars we were dealt here early in the season. I'm going to go home and make these cars faster.
There are a lot of different budget levels when you go through that Xfinity Series garage, but you won't talk to any team down there that's not excited about the next couple of weeks off to reset, add up the car collection before we go off the Texas Motor Speedway.
Yeah, and Larry, you can understand this. When you head west with a small team, you've put the best setup under the car, the best aero that you think you can come up with as far as the way the underbody of your car is. You put your carbon fiber, your composite body on that car. You come west and you're just going to race for a few weeks. You can't really do much with what you have.
There's been a lot going on in parking lots across the west.
Brandon Jones hoping to get back inside the top 10 today. He just went to the top position in qualifying, 40.191. He is P1. Here's the 5 car of Michael Annett as we hear from driver number 1 and Matt Yoakum.
Now, Adam, every time I see Christopher Bell or other drivers this weekend wearing the visor cam and the great shots they give, Elliot, we both have kids, and every time I see that shot, it reminds me of the turnpike at Disney and that big steel bar that you're trying to keep it from bouncing off of.
Yeah, do not hit the steel ball, right? And thanks for reminding me of that, Matt. So I did that here last year in the first round of qualifying. I hit the seam, and it really messed up my lap, and you only get 1 lap at it, and that's it. So I'm going to try to act like I'm at Disney, try to stay off the steel bar in the middle, try to split the seams, and see what my Cessna Chevy can do in 1 lap.
Because you don't want your kids saying, come on, Dad, you know.
Yeah, because I yell at them when they hit it because it jerks the wheel out of your hand. So now I can't go and hit it after preaching to them. So hopefully I'll use my head and lay down together. We got a really fast car, so I just got to use my head, make a good lap, and we should be fine.
All right, good luck, buddy.
Thanks.
Good news for Elliott Sadler. He can start where he qualifies today. Couldn't do that last week at ISM Raceway after they had to change an engine.
You know, Michael, you talked about resetting. I talked to Chad Norris, the crew chief here for Spencer Gallagher in the 23. He just started there right before the season started, and he kind of said that very thing to me. He said, you know, we've had a good run out west. We've had a good run all year so far after 4 races, but it's time to go home and kind of reset and kind of get back to a routine a little bit.
It's going to be a decent lap for Gallagher, 3rd fastest, 40-40.
If they could get another top 15 this weekend, Michael, and go 5 for 5 with top 15s, couple of top 10s, that would be a great way for this organization to start 2018.
And I think that Allegiant Chevy will do just that. I think they've got a lot of speed. Spencer's been steady and consistent. I can almost guarantee you a top 15 for that team this afternoon.
Guarantee? That's
yeah.
Good.
This is a guy that was in the top 14 yesterday and looking for the top 8 today. Those are some specific goals. You get it. You know, I would be a top 15, top 10 guy, but Ryan Truex thinks that he's got more than that.
I'll say this, and I haven't worked around Ryan a lot, but the one thing that I've come to the conclusion on through 4 weeks, he has high expectations. He always wants a little more. And if you're going to be successful in racing or anything for that matter, you got to have a little greed in you. And this is going to be a nice lap for the 11 car. Colleague Racing, 40.14 for Truex. Puts him in the top position. 26 cars into his first round of qualifying.
Now, this is not his first career start here, but he did race here back in like 2011 in the Xfinity Series.
It's been a while.
It has been a while.
I've been around that kid a lot over the years. He won a K&N championship for Michael Waltrip Racing back in the day, and he's got a lot of talent and a lot of desire, and I think he's on a path now to get, oh no.
Dylan Lupton.
That's going to be backup car there. And I'm not sure what kind of backup car they'll have.
Yeah, and they're going to have a lot of work to do in a short time to do it.
Lupton was really fast yesterday, had some good speed in that car. He's one of our...
Down there, I just brought it down and
it just snapped away from him, and you could tell it was hanging out loose when he entered, and around it went. Check this out, Larry. We talk about the seams. We'll see if he catches one of those. Looked like he just started bobbling before he ever got to the seam, and just loose. And what you try to do, Adam, is run nearly wide open around this racetrack, especially down into turn 1 with that big sweeping entry. And his car was bobbling as it entered the corner, and it got away from. You can see right on the seam when it went away, but it was loose before that.
Yeah, we were looking at Brandon Jones, that 19 car earlier that qualified. Same thing happened to him yesterday. He just was a lot luckier than Dylan Lupton. You can see Dylan's out of that race car. he'll make the mandatory ride to the Infield Care Center. But yeah, 14 degrees of banking, you get in trouble here, you're really lucky if you don't get into that wall.
Second crash for him as NASCAR goes west, involved in that racing incident 2 weeks ago. Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Today, it happens in qualifying for the kid out of Sacramento. It's sunny Saturday here in Fontana, California. Auto Club Speedway playing host to NASCAR this weekend. Right now, the opening round of qualifying for the NASCAR Xfinity Series, and our progress has been halted. Issues down in turn 2 for the 28 of Dylan Lupton.
You could just see it started almost fishtailing Larry as he turned in. I think that was Lupton in there working the wheel, trying to hang on to that car, and just got away from him. That's a tough break for a small team. This car had pretty good speed yesterday too.
Rewind to Las Vegas early in the event. He had trouble there as well.
Yeah, 2 weeks ago, a hard lick, but an attaboy to Chris Powell. Everyone at Las Vegas Motor Speedway, you can see the safer barrier there at a place you never would think a race car would hit. But just when you think a race car's went everywhere it can go, you find somewhere new. So good thing to see him walk away.
I know Dylan excited about coming to this racetrack because so many friends and family, since he is from the West Coast. Not the start to Saturday he would have liked. Cars back on track when we continue, including Logano. It's about time to roll the cars once again. Here at Auto Club Speedway, problem for Dylan Lupton. He was the 27th car to make a run as we start to close on the end of this opening round. And no doubt, one of the favorites for the pole, Joey Logano, driving the 22. Can he go get it? P1 for the 22 today, Matt?
He was P2 in both practice sessions yesterday. And back in the 22, driver rotation, Keselowski won last week. Do you guys have a running bet over who gets the most wins when you're piloting this car?
We should. I mean, my first year when I came to Penske, Brad and I went back and forth quite a bit, and we were joking about it. And but we should put some kind of bet on this, shouldn't we?
I think so.
Hopefully, hopefully I'm able to catch up one on him. He's one up right now, so this is my third one, I think, in the Xfinity
Second
series?
the last time you were in the car, so you really need to up your game a little bit.
Yeah, I know. So I got a good car though. I think my discount tire Mustang's fast. I'm not sure where it's going to be in qualifying. It seemed like the 20 had really good short run speed, so it would be interesting to see if it shows up in qualifying. But the long run, it seems like the car is really good. So hopefully see some longer runs and it works out.
Great thing about running here at Auto Club Speedway, you've got a lot of decisions you can choose from whichever lane you want to go. But is that also a hindrance because you have too many decisions?
Yes, especially in qualifying because you don't know what you got until you get there. And I mean, yesterday in qualifying in the Cup Series, same thing. You just, what lane do I want to be in? Maybe I'll run this lane, and usually I figure out what lane I'm going to run after my up to speed corner, and I'm contemplating all the way down the front straightaway, saying this lane, I don't know, and I just drive into a lane. So hopefully I make the right decision.
Good luck, Adam.
And Matt, if he was today in that car, he's going to have to do something really special to out-impress what his teammate did last week, because Brad Keselowski won on a short track after a speeding penalty. Just winning straight up is not going to be enough for Joey Logano.
And what I love what Logano said is, I get it. You get to the corner and you're like, which one of these big lanes do I pick? I have so many options. And Larry, they're running faster than they've run since they got here. Our fastest time yesterday was like a 40-20. We already see a 40-14 on the board. So we're going to dip down into the 39-second bracket, and that means you're going to make some decisions, and you're going to make them at speeds faster than you've ever gone.
Just saw that shot of Ryan Reed inside the race car. It kind of gives you a feel for just how rough this 2-mile racetrack is. Even on the straightaways, a lot of times rougher on the straightaway here than in the course.
I think it is, and this will show you that down the back. You get about halfway down, the track looks white up ahead. It changes colors, and then you start hopping through there. Right there, you can look at Reed's head bounce through the corner.
Trying to get back to that throttle. You can hear that thing just kind of skimming across the racetrack.
Looks like he's going to be the fastest car yet.
Easily. By a couple of tenths of a second. Ryan Reed is now in the number one position.
He picked up 3/4 of a second from yesterday.
And that's on those decisions you got to make. You're running wide open nearly, and you've got to say, well, all right, let's see what happens here and pick a lane. He picked the right one.
12 cars to go, and the top 12 from round one move on to that second and final round of qualifying to run for the pole position. Heard earlier from Ryan Preece. Here he is in the 18. First of at least 11 starts, could be more. Only had 2 scheduled last year. Went to New Hampshire, ran second to Kyle Busch. Went to Iowa, won the pole, won the race. Got a couple of more events, and as Matt documented when we visited with driver 18 a bit ago, that he finished top 5 in all 4 of those races last year.
What a success story, because he and the people backing him decided, you know, we're going to put you in a car like Joe Gibbs. Right now he's going to be 4th quickest. It's only going to be for 2 races, but you know what? We're going to roll the dice with you, and by gosh, it paid dividends, and now it's bearing a lot of fruit this year.
You could see Austin Cindric there wobbling off turn 4. Across the start-finish line to start his run. That car looked a little bit free. You'll have to watch it down here. Oh, into the wall on entry. That was just a bit of a mistake by the young racer, just trying to hang it out as wide as he could to get a better arc into the corner, and he scrubbed the outside wall. I'd say that really surprised him, to think that he knew he was going to be close, but he never dreamed he'd be up against the wall.
He has his hands full really with this entire lap. You could see it all the way off the exit of 2, kind of just sliding right there on the exit of 4.
His teammate is quickest. That's Ryan Reed. Cindric back across the line, and the 60 car is 6th out of the 30 vehicles that have taken time.
I think to Larry's point, when he got to turn 3 and 4, Austin Cindric said, I think I'm going to tiptoe through here a bit. This thing's been a bit of a challenge. Watch this entry into turn 1. You want to swing out as wide as you can. He just misjudged it a bit right there and scrubbed the wall just ever so slightly. Shouldn't cause any issues for later, but like you said, Larry, looked like his hands were full.
I know it was early in the lap, but he was in the green, and you saw very quickly what that little kiss did to momentum, because immediately it went to the red, and unlikely the 60 car will move on to our second round as we take a look at Justin Allgaier.
You know, they were talking on pit road, Matt and Joey Logano, about a friendly wager. Well, we placed one up here in the
yes,
no
we
money
did.
will ever change hands, of course.
Absolutely not.
No,
but I took this is my guy for the pole.
I thought this was for the race. You had the 7 of Justin Allgaier.
Well, let's just bump it up another notch.
Okay.
I'm sure it'll not be how the circumstances unfold, whether it's qualifying or the race.
Well,
yeah, we'll see.
And now that we've got all these disparities in what the bet actually is, I'm sure no money will exchange hands. I kind of like the 0 of Cole Custer.
Well, I think that's a great pick, not only for this qualifying session, but also for later on this afternoon in the race. This kid has got it all. He won at Miami, and I know Miami's a 1.5 mile track, but you drive them just this place in Miami just to like. You got to be comfortable with running up against the wall. You have to be versatile in your ability to run from top to bottom, and he flat put it on them last fall in Miami.
The grip level, I'd say, is very similar, which is basically no grip level.
Yeah.
Very little grip whatsoever. Yeah, kind of a home game for Cole from nearby Ladera Ranch, California. Did a lot of things out here for some charities this week.
Yes, he did. He and car owner Gene Haas delivering checks totaling $7 million for local STEM programs in Southern California. Haas Automation based out here. Custer going to advance to that second round of qualifying. He, Ryan Reed, Justin Allgaier, Ryan Truex all locked in with 8 cars remaining. First of those, former Cup winner here, Elliott Sadler.
Did you say $7 million?
$7 million.
That is huge. Great work by Gene and that whole group.
Just look at those finishes down there in the bottom left-hand corner, Elliott Sadler. I mean, what a way to start the season off. 2nd, 5th, 5th, 9th at Phoenix after starting at the rear of the field after that engine change.
No one manages a race any better than Elliott Sadler. Won the regular season championship a year ago, heartbroken down at the Homestead Miami Speedway, a runner-up for the title. He's going to stay alive for the pole, I do believe. Cross the line. Elliott's time goes to 4th, and yes, he will advance and be a part of that second round. Got 7 cars left to go here.
You have to have a lot of confidence in your car to whip it down on the apron like Elliott did there in turns 3 and 4. That helps the car turn, so it has to be really stable on entry to do that. And Elliott was certainly stable. and fast.
And this is one of the drivers, Kaz Gralla, in this 24 car, seeing this racetrack for the first time. But, Michael, how many tracks last year in the Truck Series was he seeing for the first time? It didn't seem to affect his performance.
No, and he started the season with an exclamation point, didn't he? He's coming off turn 2 in the truck race at Daytona last year. Adam, he was running 7th. And when the smoke cleared, he was sitting in victory lane. That has to be one of the most thrilling moments of that young man's racing career. And he has some great moments.
He had some big moments there through turns 3 and 4 on this qualifying lap.
You know, a lot of dads go out and play pitch and catch with their son. Kaz's dad, Darius, they went out and raced cars together. He's been racing cars ever since he was old enough to figure out which side was the gas and which was the brake. And he's come to the Xfinity Series and turned some heads with the performance of that 24 car.
Probably not going to advance into the second round of qualifying, but he'll have a solid starting position. Currently 8th as we go from one rookie to another. Tyler Reddick, pair of victories in just a handful of start in Xfinity Series competition. One last fall, driving for Chip Ganassi, sharing that 42 car with Kyle Larson and others. Got the victory lane in the Bluegrass of Kentucky. Won the season opener at Daytona, and this his rookie campaign, and doing some real good things for Junior Motorsports and that 9 team.
I do not think that he and crew chief Dave Ellens, they're going to be very happy with this lap, though. You saw the tracker just vanish below there.
Yeah. Well, he's more happier with this qualifying effort than last week, right? Last week was a disaster and set them back. So probably a little bit more conservative this week with the run. And Larry, I'm okay with starting anywhere in that top 20. This is a big, wide track. We've talked about it. You can make some good ground. Probably not the handling package he needed for qualifying. That certainly doesn't mean that it won't be for the race.
You mentioned Dave Ellens. He has a win here as a crew chief. With what driver?
Kevin Harvick.
Yeah. Came here a few years ago and did positive things last year.
Yeah, he didn't like that. You heard Austin Dillon come on the radio and said, guys, this is going to be no good. Looked loose down in turn 1 and 2, and it's only going to be looser in 3 and 4.
We are seeing more and more drivers get loose. I think this racetrack is definitely heating up.
Yeah, the temperatures are going up. The sun's been out for the last 30 minutes or so. That changes when Matt asked what that does to the track. Over time, it certainly takes grip away. When it first comes out, it's not that concerning, but once it bakes on the track for a while here, makes you loose. Look how far that car's hung out.
Yeah, he's very, very lucky he was able to hang on to it. He's going to start fairly deep in the field. Right now, he's 15th with that 3 car.
Has one win here. He's led one lap here, 2016, a thriller. When Austin Dillon was able to come from behind. I said I didn't think Kaz Gralla was going to advance when I looked at who was still to make a run in this first round. I stand corrected. The rookie out of Massachusetts will move on. 4 drivers to go. He's currently 8th, and my simple math says that will put him for sure in the top 12 as we look at John Hunter Nemechek making his second career start this weekend in a car that won here last year with Kyle Larson.
And then a team that won at Las Vegas 2 weeks ago with Kyle Larson.
Nice job.
Solid run for John Hunter up into the 4th spot. And I think, Larry, this will make the next round more interesting for us to see whose cars are versatile enough to run fast speeds in this first round. And then as that track continues to heat up, what kind of lap can they put together in the second round to get the pole?
Yeah, same tire combination as the Cup Series. And it seemed like yesterday in qualifying for the Cup Series, from the brand new sticker tire run to the scuff tire run, which round 2 will be, that the cars were a little bit tighter. Said they definitely had to make some adjustments.
Well, there's a couple of drivers that are going to be wanting to hear that, because we've seen back ends hung out and they've been loose, so that might play into their hands a bit.
Logano in the red, but you don't necessarily want to be fastest in round 1. You want to do it in round 2 when the pole is on the line. And despite the fact he's tracking in the red, now he goes back to the green. He's certainly in good enough position that he's going to stay alive and be a part of that top 12 that goes for the pole. In fact, he goes to the top. Logano 39.66. That's moving on down the road.
Wow, yeah. That was a hot lap.
2.5 tenths in the bank there over Cole Custer.
I like the visor cam, and I say thank you to Christopher Bell, the rookie out of Norman, Oklahoma, who's going to wear it for us Not only in qualifying, but more importantly in the race later today.
Watch his hands inside this race car, and then watch the car on the right. His hands are working constantly, trying to, and his feet too, trying to keep that car as fast and as stable as he can. And as we look outside at the car, it looks just like it's rolling around there on a set of train tracks. Watch the work he does to make it do that.
And Michael, let's listen to it here. He maybe was out of the throttle a little longer than we've heard some, but when he picked it back up, he, for the most part, was able to get back after it and stay in it.
But when he got out of the throttle, he went pretty significantly from the green to the red on our tracker, and he will come in behind Joey Logano, 39.74. Only one car to go. It's the 21 of Daniel Hemrick.
What do you think about the crew? You think they're going to tell Christopher Bell, Larry, when he came out of the gas, he lost his momentum, he lost the time? They study those laps that we were able to put on TV, and it'll help coach that young driver into taking a different approach maybe in the next round.
You agree with my assessment, though, because as soon as he came out of the throttle, you saw the difference there in the tracker.
See, Daniel Hemrick, the last driver to go, he cut the fastest lap of any driver yesterday. It came in at final practice at a 40.26. Should be much quicker than that. Actually started on the outside of the front row here a year ago.
And, you know, back-to-back top 10s. So this team's starting to catch their stride. Talked to Danny Stockman, the crew chief, yesterday, and he said we're not where we want to be. I think they're frustrated despite the fact that they've enjoyed some solid runs early in the year. Good effort here in qualifying. Puts him third behind Logano and Bell. So we now know the 12 drivers that will move on and run for the pole, and we know how they will line up 13th to 40th. We'll tell you about both ends of the spectrum when we continue live from Auto Club Speedway. Round 5 for the NASCAR Xfinity Series happens later today on FS1, 4:30 Eastern Time. It's a part of a stacked weekend of motorsports on the Fox family of networks. Sports cars down in Sebring, Monster Energy Supercross later tonight on FS1. Got NHRA, of course, the Cup cars on Fox here tomorrow. 40 cars for today's Xfinity event. All of them make the field, and here's how they'll line up later today from 13th through the tail end.
Yeah, probably the notables was back there Tyler Reddick in 16th, and then Austin Dillon all the way back in 19th position in that 3 car.
So who's going to win the pole? Could it be Justin Allgaier, 6th in round 1, Matt?
He indeed was P6 in round 1. Reshuffling the deck now, looking back at your lap, anything you could do to improve on for the next round?
You know, honestly, it's such a hard time qualifying here. Yesterday was really overcast and cool. Today it's still pretty cool, but the sun's definitely out. So really proud of everybody on this Hellman Camaro. Thought we had good long run speed yesterday. Short run speed was kind of our question mark. First round there maybe just needed a little bit of grip. You know, it just felt like I was up on top of the racetrack just a little bit too much, especially to run the lap time that Joey and some of those guys up there in the front ran. But, you know, it's second round on tires. Tires fall off really quickly here. That's where our car kind of excelled yesterday. So I'm optimistic. Hopefully all the fans are at home are enjoying it. Hopefully they're on their Xfinity X1 service. And we're going to go out there and give it another great shot at the second lap.
Solid runs here in the past. The last 6 races, an 8th, a pair of 9s, and a 10th. What do you feel like maybe you were missing to kind of put you over the hump and shoot you into the top 5?
That's been hard. You know, I love this place. I think any dirt racer especially will tell you that they love coming here to Auto Club Speedway. But for me, it's been a struggle. You know, I have the feel that I want. I've had the cars that I needed to be able to be competitive, and just stuff hasn't really worked out the way that it's needed to. You know, I've sped on pit road a few times, had some late race restarts that didn't go our way, but ultimately, you know, we need just a little bit. And I think that we found some really good speed yesterday in practice. So really proud of the 7 team. Everybody back at Junior Motorsports, they've been working hard. This West Coast swing, NASCAR Goes West, has been crazy on all the teams. So definitely will be good to get a good run and leave here and have some momentum going to the off weeks.
And guys, you've seen the sun come out, go back behind the cloud, and I believe we're on the last money cloud. And once this cloud passes over, we are going to be in direct sunlight for the rest of this round.
Timing's everything.
It is.
At a venue like this. Some like mustard on their sandwich. Justin Allgaier likes mayonnaise. We'll see if he can get the pole. Cars rolling when we come back. It's just about time for the second and final round of qualifying for Xfinity teams here at Auto Club Speedway. Daniel Hemrick, fastest in final practice yesterday. 3rd quick in that first qualifying session. What are they thinking here for round 2, Matt?
Never worse than 4th on the scoring monitor all weekend long. So looking at this final round, which end of the racetrack do you try to focus on most so you can lock in the good lap?
Oh, gosh, that's tough. You want it to be good everywhere, but it seems like, we talked about us being the worst at 4th all weekend with our South Point Hotel Casino Chevrolet, but 22 can maneuver. He can go to the white line both ends, and we try to get where we can do that, but we haven't quite got there yet. But we definitely got our car driving better and better throughout practice yesterday, and drove pretty good there in round 1. It's always a game of how hard do you go and how much you have left. So we're gonna find out what everybody's got now. But just really proud of these guys. Made some really good changes yesterday. It's tough to come to a racetrack with this kind of surface on one set of tires and actually feel the race car get better, and we did that. So hopefully that pays off for us as we go into this afternoon.
What do you feel like this team has improved the most from a year ago here this weekend to this weekend?
I think really just the connectivity of our group of guys. I feel like we're locking arms when we attack every weekend, and that having that kind of bond and knowing, what we share together, it keeps everybody calm. It keeps us pulling the rope the same direction and make sure that we're doing the right things to improve ourselves from the time we hit the racetrack for the first time all the way to the checker flag. So when you can have that with a group, that's something special. It's hard to find in any sport. So I'm very proud of these guys, and hopefully can keep this South Point Hotel and Casino Chevrolet as fast as the Xfinity internet service. And we got one more round to try to do it.
You know what, Adam? Listening to Daniel, it sounds like our Xfinity production meetings. We're all on the same page. We're all pulling the rope in the same direction. Michael gets a little in the weeds sometime, but we love his humor.
Larry and I have been reeling him back in as we speak, really. You're probably the biggest challenge, but we appreciate you playing along.
Well, I knew if you didn't love me, you wouldn't try to get me back online, so I appreciate that.
Larry, would you say we're pulling the rope in the same direction?
I don't know if we're pulling it or trying to push it.
Maybe we need to reel in some of these folks. Happy St. Patty's Day. On your television screen, the 12 drivers that will go for the pole position in what will be the 5th race of 2018 for the NASCAR Xfinity Series. And about 5 days ago, as Kaz Grala rolls out to make his qualifying run, about 5 days ago, someone in our television booth was sweating it out, stressed about potential rain. Today, no rain. It's gorgeous and going to be a perfect afternoon for racing.
Perfect day today, perfect day tomorrow. It was a perfect day yesterday. I know we had some weepers this morning from some overnight rain, but it's as good as it gets.
And if you go ahead, Michael.
I was just going to say, and for a young kid from Massachusetts making his debut here, tracking around this place in his Xfinity car into the final round, trying to win a pole, it's got to be a perfect day for him, wouldn't you say?
This thing still looks a little nervous for him, though, Michael, coming to take the green here. The 24 car, if he gets this lap in, it'll definitely be his best start of his young career. This is only his 5th start. His best start was at 17th at Phoenix, so just keeps getting a little better in qualifying each week.
Well, this whole team does. JGL showed a lot of speed yesterday in practice. I was impressed with them. His teammate Dylan Lupton, unfortunately, darn it, into the outside wall. That's going to set him back a bit. But Kaz has just taken care of his cars and gotten those finishes you talked about, Larry, better and better week in and week out. It's been fun to watch this young man get his legs under him in the Xfinity Series.
The first lay down lap as we run for the top spot in qualifying for Grala, 40.73, a drop off of a half a second compared to what he ran in round 1.
Larry, crew chief, what am I going to lose here? What am I going to be happy with? Are we going to lose speed? Are we going to pick up any time in the second round?
Well, based on what we know about the tire situation here, based on the Cup Series qualifying yesterday, and based on this track heating up, no question it's going to be, I'm not going to say impossible. I'm not going to sit here and be bold enough to say no one will run faster, but everything indicates that you're probably going to slow down anywhere from 3, maybe 5, 6 tenths from round 1.
Wow.
Was anyone brave enough to conserve with their effort in round 1, still be able to advance, but have some good in the tire so they can maximize what we see here in this final run?
I don't think so, Larry. What do you think?
That would be hard to do. I can see it in, like, when we have the 3 rounds of qualifying, getting from round 1 to round 2, but trying to make the top 12, as Ryan Preece has picked up from round 1.
Bold enough to do?
I wasn't bold enough to say absolutely not possible, but yeah, he picks up roughly a tenth from round 1.
Now, doesn't that make a lot of sense, though? He's, you know, a rookie, a young kid just making one of his first starts. I know he's won already, but you don't want to go out there at this racetrack and hang it out, because we've seen guys hang it out and then into the wall. So Priest, a conservative approach to that first round probably was just who he is and where he's at in his career. He felt his car, liked what he felt, and said, I think I can go get a little more in this next round.
And right now, his teammate Brandon Jones, off into 3, he was tracking in the green ahead of his teammate Ryan Priest, but almost like what we saw earlier, the minute Brandon Jones rolled out of the throttle, he went from green to red.
You know what I see? I see shade as Brandon Jones comes across the line, 40-16, so he's pretty much right on top of what he ran in that first qualifying run earlier.
And shade is good for the track temperature, obviously, but it's also good for the brain of the driver. You know, mentally, you see that cloud come over and you say, I've got the best conditions I could have right now, and you go out and try to take advantage of it.
Ryan Truex in the 11. I still say one of the great moments 2017 when this group, Colleague Racing, won the pole at Talladega Superspeedway with Blake Cook behind the wheel, off to a really good start in 2018. Couple of top 10 finishes, back-to-back inside the top 15 is a part of our NASCAR Goes West tour.
We talked about, boy, you could see that car really stepping out. Talked about Ryan making a start here in 2011. His best weekend in the Xfinity Series was back in 2012 when he sat on the pole at Dover and finished second.
Nearly won that race. He's third here in qualifying, 40-61. He lost some speed compared to what he turned out in that opening round. 8 drivers to go. The first of those, Elliott Sadler, who comes in leading the championship.
I think we're going to look back, and when this round is over, no matter where Ryan Priest winds up, we'll say he overachieved, that he really learned what his car had in that first round. He liked the way it felt, maybe a bit of a conservative approach, not because he was trying to save for the second round, just because he has so few laps here. And then he stepped it up in round 2. That's impressive.
That's a statement, though, about a driver, right? When you can step it up, when the money's on the line, he was able to do that. Elliott Sadler working in the green. Going to be a good qualifying run for him, although a big slide down in 3 and 4, and he drops into the red, and I think going to be some disappointment here.
Well, he had 3/10 nearly on the field on the guys that he's running against when he entered that corner. But I talked earlier, when you turn down on that apron, you take a risk of getting your car really loose, and it looks like that's what happened.
Yeah, it seems like the pattern is they carry so much momentum through 1 and 2. They're in the green, but then you get down to 3 and 4, and the minute you either roll out of the throttle or try to go on the exit of turn 4, that's when a lot of these drivers are losing ground.
And watch this, Larry. You see John Hunter Nemechek through 1 and 2. He's in total shade down there. See the shade? And now we're going to go into the sunlight. Oh, and by the way, we're going to go through the bumps on the back straightaway, and then we're going to try to crank it low in 3 and 4 where the sun is just beating down on the track. I think that's why you see green in 1 and 2, and then it goes to red in 3 and 4.
He actually did a nice job, and now you can see it going back the right direction as he's really gaining. He let the car take a set, picked the throttle up, was able to stay in it. Going to be a great lap for John Hunter Nemechek. He goes to the top, almost a mirror of what he ran in round number 1.
3/100ths of a second faster than the opening round for John Hunter Nemechek. Halfway home, round 2 qualifying, 42 leads as we look at the 7 of Justin Allgaier.
That was Nemechek, another young driver making his first start here, learning as he goes. Been able to take notes, mental notes, and listen to the crew chief after round 1 and figure out how to step it up in round 2.
More than a third of our field, when we go green later today, will have never made an appearance in any series here at Auto Club Speedway. It's challenging, but I read recently Hall of Famer Mark Martin said this facility, a hybrid of Michigan, the other 2-mile oval, and Atlanta Motor Speedway, which is really rough and hard on tires.
Yeah, he said size and shape of Michigan, a lot of characteristics of Atlanta Motor Speedway.
Second for Allgaier. Spent some time at the green, dropped into the red, and ultimately comes home P2 of the 7 drivers that have been out.
I don't know if it's the camera angle or what, but doesn't it look like Ryan Reed is kind of looking down, you know, looking maybe downhill a bit?
Was it Ryan that told Regan Smith yesterday in practice, may have been Ryan Truex, said he almost needed a mouth guard because the way you just get beat up so bad going around this racetrack.
And right here is the worst of it. That's what you'll see. And then watch him as he gets down into turn 3. It doesn't get much better. Really bouncing in there. He's doing a nice job of keeping the throttle down.
It's going the wrong direction, though. It's like he just couldn't stay in it like he needed to. He was in good shape till he turned off in the middle of turn 3 and 4. Still a good lap, though. 40.08 puts him third quickest. Lost about a 10.5 from round 1.
It almost sounded like he got a little bit tight maybe on exit of 3 and 4. We heard him wide open, but the engine didn't really seem to churn up. Like maybe the front end was pushing, going out toward the wall, and he had the wheels cut, binding it up a bit.
4 cars to go. What do we call this? The rail cam, right?
Yes.
How creative is that?
Very, very cool. And it's kind of designed that it's about level with the door top of the race car.
The innovation of our Fox Sports production staff, second to none. Another great one there, providing good pictures later today on FS1 for these Xfinity cars. Same tomorrow, NASCAR on Fox as Cup teams take to the 2-mile oval here in Southern California. This is Cole Custer in the 00. And again, we see a drop off of speed down in 3 and 4.
Oh, so
Custer
close.
Second by 14 1/1000ths of a second behind Nemechek.
Yeah, we still have 3 more drivers to go. Cole's best career start is second twice. So right now, that's exactly where he's at.
See what Hemrick can do. He was one of those top cars in our first round that really got down into the 39-second bracket. Had a little bit of a cushion over the others, did Hemrick.
Bottom left of your screen, he's been a qualifying machine in 2018. Pole at Daytona, third at Las Vegas, hasn't started outside the top 10 in our 4 races so far, and this lap appears to be a good one. Losing some ground through turns 3 and 4. Let's see if it comes back. It's going to be tight. Nope.
Just getting through the middle of 3 and 4 and off turn 4 seems to be the key. He's going to be third quickest. Lost quite a bit. He's flirting with about 2.5 tenths from what he ran in round 1.
Nemechek is first. Custer is second. Bell and Logano remain. Who's going to lead him here? Who's going to get the pole? What do you think?
Well, I had kind of had my money on this 20 car, Christopher Bell.
I thought that was for the race, Larry.
Well, let's see how qualifying goes. I'll let you know. Let me get back to you.
This is going to be a great lap for sure.
I mean, he's sitting here with about a 10.5 in the bank. But remember, it seems to be turns 3 and 4 that is the Achilles heel. He's pushing toward 2 tenths.
Out of the throttle, but I felt like he started getting back a lot earlier than he did in round 1. And this is going to be a fantastic lap for Christopher Bell. Quarter of a second faster than John Hunter. Nemechek 39.76 for the rookie out of Joe Gibbs Racing.
And he essentially mirrored what he ran, just a little slower than round 1, but essentially the same time.
And then there was one. Joey Logano is going to try to knock Christopher Bell from his perch.
The team in the garage said, we feel like we've got a chance to go out and win the pole. Talking about the 22 group. Roger Penske's never won here in the Xfinity Series.
Whoa, look at there, Adam.
197 into turn 1.
That's heating it up, isn't it?
Yeah, he did not heat it up, though, on the exit of turn 2. Lost a lot of ground, so he's got work to do when he gets down to turns 3 and 4. I think that he paid the price for that 197 entrance speed.
And let me just tell you, though, this experienced veteran, how does he deal with the tough conditions of 3 and 4? A little bit of shade had crept in there. Did that help?
It's not going to quite get there, I don't think, guys. And I'll pretty much take 1s, 5s, or 10s, whatever y'all want to pay off in.
Well, it's going to be a fun race this afternoon.
Nice work, guys.
I said earlier that Daniel Hemrick is a qualifying machine. How about Christopher Bell? He's doing it on pole day, huh?
See Bell.
4th career pole in only 13 starts. He's really been impressive here in 2018. Today we'll go green for the 5th time in 2018 for these NASCAR Xfinity Series cars, and for the 3rd time it will be Christopher Bell who starts on the pole. Joining him up front, driver 22,